Hello, everybody. This is a public service announcement that you are being far too generic in the thing that you sell, the problems that you solve, and the people that you work with. Ask me how I know. I have coached, mentored, trained, supported, worked with, consulted for hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs now. This is not my first rodeo. I've been doing this for a long time. I ran digital marketing agencies for many years before I decided to become the LinkedIn person. And I got famous for my thing, which is helping entrepreneurs get leads from LinkedIn without sending any DMs in 30 minutes or less a day. Now, I could be even more specific, but that is my thing right now. But when I first started out in business, first started out with my social media agency, it was helping small business owners in Warrington sell more and look better online using Facebook and Twitter. That was my thing then. Then when I had a employer branding agency, it was helping HR directors hire better people faster using Facebook ads, because that was my thing. So you don't have to do anything. I'm here to tell you don't have to do anything. But I want to help you make more money and reach more people. I want to tell you a story about a client I've just been working with, and she's absolutely amazing. And in fact, I'll name her Helen Hannah. Go and check her out. So she's working with Paul and I in Client Funnels. We had an amazing session today, all about ideal client and the offer. Yeah. So for me, you need to know who your ideal client is, what problem you're solving, how you're going to solve it, how much you're going to charge. Now, Helen came to me as a health coach. She's a health coach, hypnotherapist, a life coach, and a yoga teacher. She has got a lot in her toolbox, which is amazing. She can help people with pretty much anything. And one of the things that she came to me and said, I think my thing is probably going to be anxiety. Help people with anxiety. I said, what are you really passionate about? What's the one thing you really love? Well, actually, I really help people with anxiety brought on by drinking, because that's part of my story. I'm 5 years sober, and I learned a lot of this stuff to help me get rid of that anxious feeling I felt from drinking. And I said, yeah, the 4 a.m. wake up. She was like, yeah. So now Helen's thing is helping female business owners over 40 stop waking up at 4 a.m. through health coaching and hypnotherapy, right? So it's about solving a problem. So when Helen and I were talking, we had a 90-minute call where we were talking about the 4 a.m. wake up and what that means, right? Well, it means if anyone's ever had a drink, waking up in the morning, wake up at 4 a.m. You don't need to be just because you've had a drink. You might just wake up with your anxiety at 4 in the morning. You wake up and you think about everything from the day before, everything you want to do for the rest of the day, that you make a promise with yourself, and things that you did 10 years ago that are coming back to you. Like, you have this existential dread at 4 a.m. But when we're talking about it, it's like, we get it. Helen and I get it. We're both women over 40, got our own businesses, and we get it, right? And we were really animated in the way that we were talking. So I'm going to help Helen, as we work together, become famous for her thing, which is to stop waking up at 4 a.m., right? That's the thing. Like, I've literally got the notes here. And it was like, this program is 1997. It's a 6-week coaching program. It is a hybrid of coaching and hypnotherapy and yoga if you want it. And it's designed to stop you waking up at 4 a.m. That is going to be Helen's thing. So that from now on, anyone who says, keep waking up at 4 a.m., they're going to think of Helen, right? And that is the power of getting famous for your thing. And for her clients, it's going to be a real tangible outcome. Famous for that thing. I was waking up at 4 a.m. most days, or every day, or a lot, and feeling really anxious. Now I'm not. Yes, work with Helen for 6 weeks. You're going to feel so much better. You're going to have 6 calls. Yeah, you're going to have hypnotherapy. She's going to just like diet, what is it called? Like weight loss hypnotherapy. And she does yoga. She teaches yoga and all the mindfulness stuff and the health coaching. She's also a life coach. So yeah, the 6 weeks, the 6 sessions are going to be amazing and transformational, but we don't sell all of that. We sell the tangible outcome, the 4 a.m. wake up. It's designed for women over 40 who've got their own businesses who wake up at 4 a.m. She's charging $1,997. You can work with up to 12 clients at a time over the year to hit the target she's looking for, which is to live a very nice lifestyle, making 12 grand a month. Revenue, 72 clients. And I said to her, do you think we can find 72 women over 40 who've got their own businesses who wake up at 4 a.m. regularly? And she said, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, right, so this becomes your thing. And I was like really animated. I was like, right, so you're going to write a book about it, you're going to have a podcast about it, you're going to go on podcasts, people will want to have you on your podcast as the woman who stops you waking up at 4 a.m. Yeah, people will want to talk to you about it. People will want to interview about it. You'll be able to do guest experts, how to stop waking up at 4 a.m. You'd be able to do a talk on stage, how to stop waking up at 4 a.m. You'd be able to sell it as that. I'll stop you waking up at 4 a.m. She's going to become famous for this thing, the 4 a.m. thing. Yeah. She's going to create a framework. She's going to create a course. She'll create, people work with a one-to-one. People will join a yoga membership because they're all for this one tangible outcome. And this is what I want you to think about in your business. Get famous for your thing. This is why people have me in to talk on podcasts. This is why I get tagged in groups I'm not even in. Apparently there's a Kajabi group with like 75,000 people in it that were all talking about me the other day. This is why people tag me in all the time, because I'm famous for my thing, which is not just helping you get leads from LinkedIn, not just using LinkedIn. LinkedIn isn't my niche. Yeah. I teach you how to use LinkedIn organically, so without spending any money. So I teach you how to use LinkedIn to get inbound DMs, so it's attraction marketing, not outbound. Get leads on LinkedIn without sending endless DMs. So I'm not going to teach you DMing strategy, and without spending more than 30 minutes a day on the platform. So I'm not going to say you've got to be on LinkedIn all day, every day. So hopefully that means that if people think of LinkedIn and someone says like, how can I use LinkedIn to set up some automation and send out this DM strategy so I can get some qualified appointments in my diary? They're not going to think of me. But anything, they're going to be like, don't speak to Helen, because she'll tell you that's not what she thinks you should do. Right. And absolutely, I know people I could refer you to who do the LinkedIn automation stuff. I'm sure I can find somebody. Lots of different ways to doing the one thing. But how I teach my thing is also my niche. It's the way I teach it. And it's the hill I'm prepared to die on. And it's getting known for your thing that makes a difference. So what I see over and over and over again, day in, day out, is that people are too broad. They're like, I'm a hypnotherapist that can help with anything from weight loss to sleeping, to anxiety, to trauma, to phobias, any of those things. Absolutely, you can, right? But let's just pick one. Just think, if you sell something for £2,000 and you want to make 12 grand a month, let's say take home 8 of that, 72 people a year, whole year, 365 days to find 72 people who are motivated enough to invest in working with you to have the transformation. Now, how do we get people into our world and want to buy from us? Is by being really specific about the problem that we solve and the way that we do it. How you do it once they're in is kind of up to you. How you sell it has to be very specific. Now, I know there's a lot of people who don't like this, and I see quite a lot of content around, my coach told me I had to niche and it didn't feel right, so I haven't, and now I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur and I sell all these things to all different people. That's fine. That's what you want to do, that's fine. If you're like, I really want to make some money and I want to make 12 grand a month and I only want to work with 72 clients a year, then let's talk about getting really niche, right? Let's talk about not just niche on who do you work with, but the outcome that you deliver. Let's make it tangible. Let's make it something you can hang your hat on. Let's make you famous for your thing. And there's a million different ways Helen can help people not wake up at 4 a.m. But that's not the point. The point is the outcome that she's going to deliver. There's a million different ways you can get leads from LinkedIn. That's not the point. The outcome I'm going to deliver is the way that we're going to do it. The way that we're going to do it is going to feel good as well. And I think it's getting famous for your thing. What is your thing? Let me know in the comments what your thing is. And I think as you type it, just like as you say it, you'll probably think, is this really my thing? Is this actually what I want my thing to be? Now with Helen, she kind of moved away from drink and alcohol and how that impacts how you show up in your life and your business and your relationships, and moved into more generalized anxiety. Whereas alcohol is really big part of her story and something she feels really passionate about, but it's kind of moved away from it because she'd sort of built up some beliefs that it wasn't the right space, right? So we've got back on track for that. But now we're talking about outcomes. It doesn't always just have to be the alcohol. I don't want her, and she doesn't want to get famous for talking about sobriety or talking about moderation in particular, or talking about alcohol particularly as being the main thing. The main thing is the outcome. Now, alcohol is a huge part of waking up at 4 a.m. Ask anybody who drinks. Yeah. But it could just be anxiety, or it could be other stuff. It could be, there's loads of different reasons that might wake you up at 4 a.m. But she's going to get famous for helping people with that. She's great. So let me know in the comments what your thing is. Right. So we've got somebody on LinkedIn saying social media manager for small business. Now, this isn't, you can't get famous for that, but you can get famous for helping people. It's like, well, this is what I would be asking if we were working together. It's like, what's your favorite thing? That's the question I asked Helen. That's where those came out. Like, what do you want to get famous for? And what do you want to do all day? Because social media management is such a wide, broad brush thing. A small business is so wide. You could end up doing anything. You could end up doing Twitter or X management for a dentist. That would be boring. Or you could run the Instagram page and do all the reels for a dog grooming company that specializes in making dogs into different colored animals. That would be fun and interesting, right? If you're into that kind of thing. So if you are a generalist, like you're a social media manager for small business, actually think about, what do I really want to do all day? What kind of social media do I actually love? And which element of it do I really, really love? And what type of business would I really love to work with? So I had this conversation with my stepson. He's big into football, wants to be a footballer. And I said to him, look, if you don't make it as a footballer, and I really, I'm sure you might do, and you may well do, and I hope you do, and all the rest of it, you can still work in football. You can still work in a football environment. All the business that goes around football, you could still work. Why work in an office in an accountant's when you could work in an office at Liverpool? Like you could really embrace the fact that you love football and work in that forever, for sure. So, like, really try and narrow it down as best you can, and just have fun with it. This is what I love about my LinkedIn stuff. You don't have to stick to it forever and ever, But when you get famous for that one thing, and let's think about outcomes. What is it about outcomes? So social media, maybe what you're really good at is reels. And you can get reels going for any company, but that if you take a company's on as a client and they give you £1,000, that you can get them 1,000 views on a reel, because you just know it. You know it inside out. You know how to make it work. You know how to make it fun. You know how to make it interesting. You'd enjoy it. You could make $100,000 a year just making reels for small businesses, definitely. And you could niche that further. You could be like, I'm the expert, specialist in making reels for makeup tutorials. That's my thing. The more niche you are, the more likely you're going to get a makeup artist saying, yeah, I'll pay you £1,000 a month to do that, because I know I'm going to make more than £1,000 a month in sales or bookings, right? But when you're really specific like that, then suddenly you're a specialist, not a generalist, and people will give you the money because you're going to fix that very, very specific problem. So in the reels for a makeup artist example that I literally just made up off the top of my head, then your marketing becomes really simple, because you make amazing reels and then you target them at makeup artists. And then you talk about what makes a good reel, what makes a bad reel, how makeup artists can make more money from reels. Like, you sell it as like, you invest £1,000, you invest £1,000, you're going to get more than that back in sales, right? For example. Or you could be, I had this with Gemma, who's she works in travel now, but when she worked in Instagram, I was like, forget doing all the Instagram, just do the stories. So just be an Instagram story specialist. I'll do your story for you, which is heavy work. You've got to post something every day. But let's say she decided to set up as Instagram stories for, I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head. So for the woodyard, so my husband's got a woodyard. So every day she creates different stories for the woodyard. It's dead labor intensive, dead heavy, but it's going to get more sales, right? And then you become a specialist in that thing. You know, I create stories for trades. There you go. So her husband's a tradesman. My husband runs a woodyard, and he's also a tradesman in a CCTV company. But she becomes a specialist then, not a generalist. So say she charges 500 quid a month. She gets 10 clients who give her 500 quid a month, and they're all builders, plumbers, electricians, or whatever it might be, right? She just runs her Instagram stories, and every Instagram story she does got a call to action, so it's really easy for her to see exactly how they get a return on that investment, right? So then she becomes the Instagram stories person for trades. See what I mean? So then instead of being, I do Instagram or I do social media, you do one part of one thing, you do it really well, and you do it for one type of person. So hopefully that gives some food for thought, because I think what people really struggle with is just making things smaller, making the niche smaller, making the offer smaller, making the outcome smaller, when actually the more you niche, the smaller, the more guaranteed and specialist the outcome is, the more people are prepared to pay, and the more people want to work with you. The more generalist you are, well, I can just help anybody with anything. The more blended in you come with everyone else, so people can't really see what's in it for me, what is the tangible outcome for me? What does this mean for me? And is this the right person for me? So it's just something to think about. But I just got really excited on that call with Helen about really helping her get famous for her thing and just hanging a hat on that. And the reason why we do that call, so she's just made a significant investment with Client Funnel. She's our latest client. I'm very excited to work with her. You'll be seeing loads of me talking about it because so aligned. Not only have we got the same name, but so aligned on so many levels. It's just fantastic. But before Paul can build a funnel for her, before I can help her with a LinkedIn, before we can do a scorecard for her, before we can put up an engagement funnel for her, we've got to know, what is the thing? What's the hook? What is the thing you're going to get famous for? Who's it for? What's in it for them? Now, everything becomes a lot easier for us, for Helen, the clarity for people on the outside. And she said, what do I do between now and the next call? And I was like, start posting about it. So yeah, go and check Helen out and go and really have a look at her stuff. Won't be targeted yet. Her name's Helen Hannah, but follow her and go and follow Helen Hannah. She's on my friends list on Facebook and probably LinkedIn as well. She's lovely. She's got great energy. She's a health coach, yoga teacher, and a few other things. But if you want a masterclass of how somebody goes from being a generalist to a specialist, follow Helen for the next 3 months and see how it pans out. That's what I would advise. But yes, so if you're watching this inside my paid program, please put your comments. I'll get to you lot first, and I'll try and help you in any way I can about really picking that niche and getting really specific and feeling the resistance and doing it anyway. That's where the skill is. And if you don't want a niche and you think I'm talking a load of shite, that's also fine too. Other opinions are, as always, available. But in my opinion, if you want to make more money faster, the more niche you are, the more specific you are, the more you can charge, and the easier it is to find clients, the less clients you need to give yourself a very, very nice income indeed. Lots of love.